The Forrester mansion had been designed for elegance, a place where light, laughter and celebration were supposed to coexist harmoniously. But beneath the glitter of the chandelier and the polished perfection of the marble floor, tension rippled like an invisible storm, ready to break at any moment. Guests chatted in hushed tones, their words tinged with uncertainty, their eyes darting nervously to the center of the room, where a confrontation was already spiraling out of control. Lee's normally composed face clenched with wrath as she pointed squarely at Luna, her voice harsh enough to break through the crowd's murmuring. "Don't lie to us, you're still crazy," Lee screamed, his words reverberating with malice, carrying the weight of years of suspicion and treachery. Her tone was undeniably clear. It was more than just an accusation. It was a verdict she had been waiting to deliver. And alongside her, Sheila leaned forward, eyes burning with triumph, her lips twisting into a cold smile. Luna, standing near the grand piano, felt every eye turn to her. It was as if the floor had disappeared beneath her feet, trapping her in an unstoppable freefall. Her hands trembled as she tried to organize her thoughts, but the words refused to emerge. All she could hear was the thundering of her own heartbeat, like an angry drum beating in her ears. She had come to this gathering expecting to be accepted and to prove that she belonged. Instead, she was forced into the middle of an attack aimed at destroying her. "You don't know what you're saying," Luna mumbled, her voice shaking beneath the strain of dread and embarrassment. She turned to face the audience, hoping to find a compassionate face amid the sea of critical glances. "I am not who you believe I am. I have tried to move on. I've tried to be better." But Sheila's laughter cut through the air like a dagger. "Better?" She scoffed and shook her head slowly. "You can't remove what's inside you, Luna. You may appear to be a different person in front of others, yet you are ultimately the same as me. Dangerous. Unstable. And the worst part? You're lying to everyone here." The room became heavier, almost claustrophobic, as rumors spread among the guests. Some exchanged skeptical glances, others shook their heads, and a few stood motionless, unable to grasp the horrific spectacle unfolding in front of them. Lee moved closer, her finger jabbing into the air as she began her rant. "You put on this act pretending to be innocent, pretending to be a sweet girl worthy of our trust, but I see through it. I know the truth. You are not better. You're still insane, and I won't let you hurt anybody else in this family." The weight of Lee's words descended on Luna like shackles, and she felt her knees weaken, her body ready to collapse beneath the crushing pressure. Her gaze shifted to RJ, who stood near the stairs, his face tense with turmoil. He wanted to protect her, she could tell by the way his jaw tensed, but the fear of upsetting his family kept him frozen in place. That reluctance was worse than any allegation. It told her she was completely alone. "I am not lying." Luna's voice trembled as desperation overcame her. She grasped her chest, as if attempting to hold herself together. "I am not hazardous. I attempted to prove myself. I've done everything I can to show you that I care, and that I belong here. Why don't you believe me?" Sheila whispered to Lee loudly. "Because lies always sound sweet, but truth tastes bitter. And tonight, everyone will have a taste of the truth." With that, she went for her phone and dialed a number that sent shivers down Luna's spine. The name alone was enough to stop the murmurs. Lieutenant Baker. The entire room changed, like if the walls were leaning in to hear what would happen next. Sheila talked into the receiver with a firm voice and a clear expression of satisfaction. "Yes, Lieutenant, this is Sheila Carter. I need you to visit the Forrester estate straight away. We've got a situation. Someone harmful is present and should not be trusted." "It's Luna." Hearing her name shouted with such malice and carried into the power of law enforcement broke something within Luna. Tears welled up in her eyes, not the quiet type that could be disguised, but hot, obvious torrents that revealed her every emotion. She shook her head violently, begging, "Please do not do this. I have done nothing wrong. I'm not like her. I'm not like Sheila. You can't believe this." But the crowd had already shifted. Some distanced themselves from her, as if she possessed a contagious sickness. Others whispered louder now, their words harsh daggers slicing into her. "I felt something was weird about her. She's too good to be true. Didn't you notice how she snapped last week? She's been hiding it all along." The voices layered on top of each other, creating a crushing chorus of condemnation. Lee folded her arms and glared with the cool authority of someone who had already rendered judgment. Do you believe weeping will alter anything? They will not. Luna, I know your type. You come in claiming to be kind, but underneath that facade, you're just as manipulative and unstable as Sheila. I will not stand by and watch you damage people's lives. The mention of Sheila shattered Luna's already delicate heart. To be likened to her, the lady whose name had become synonymous with scandal, bloodshed, and ruin, was more than an insult. It was the ultimate curse in this family. Sheila, of course, relished on the comparison. Her smirk widened and her eyes shone with joy. To witness another suffer in the same manner she had, to see the family she detested turn on someone else, was a very satisfying win. Minutes went like hours, and the strain became excruciating. Every breath felt like a fight for survival, and every second was an eternity of waiting for the inevitable. Then, the sound of approaching sirens broke through the silence outside the mansion. Blue and red lights flashed against the stained glass windows, projecting fragmented colors on the terrified faces inside. The room exploded in gasps, creating a ripple of surprise and horror among the attendees. Luna sobbed, whispering, "No. Please don't let this happen." She looked urgently back to RJ, imploring with her eyes, but he remained still, his devotion divided between his love and his family. The silence was louder than any accusation. The front doors opened and Lieutenant Baker stepped in, commanding immediate attention. His furious expression spread over the room before focusing on Luna, who stood quivering at the piano, a weak figure weighed down by mistrust. Sheila and Lee approached him, ready to share their version of the truth first. "Lieutenant," Lee started, her voice firm and steady, "this girl poses a threat to everyone here. She's been lying to us and masking who she truly is. We cannot ignore it any longer. She needs to be removed before anyone is wounded." Sheila added quickly, her tone dripping with self-righteous certainty, "I've seen it myself. The instability. The lies. She's dangerous, Lieutenant. Don't let her deceive you the way she tricked everyone else." Baker lifted his hand to silence them both, his gaze locked on Luna. "Is this true? Have you got anything to say about yourself?" His voice was deep and solid, yet with a trace of compassion, as if offering her one final chance to explain. Luna's entire body shook as she stepped forward, her tears still flowing. She attempted to speak, but the words were knotted in her throat, choked by fear and sorrow. "I just wanted to belong. I wanted to be a member of this family. I never intended to harm anyone. I am not hazardous. I am not crazy. Please, you must believe me." The silence that followed was oppressive, with every breath in the room held in tension as Baker scrutinized her, weighing her shaky words against the allegations leveled against her. But Sheila's voice broke through once more, unwavering in her determination to see Luna fall. "Don't let her deceive you, Lieutenant. I understand what insane looks like. I've lived it and been called it. And I can see it in her eyes now. She's one spark away from destroying this entire family." The crowd gasped again, and Luna felt the world close in around her, the walls shrinking and the air thinning to the point that she could hardly breathe. It was as if she were locked in a never-ending nightmare, condemned by voices louder than her own and judged by people who refused to see past fear and deceit. And when Baker finally approached, reaching for his handcuffs, Luna's heart shattered. Baker's fingers caressed the cold steel of the handcuffs, and the mechanical click as he prepared them broke the silence like thunder. Luna's eyes widened, and her entire body stopped in surprise as she stumbled back against the piano. The polished keys produced a discordant chord beneath her shaking weight, almost mocking her sorrow. "No!" she yelled out, her voice frantic, raw, and shaking from dread. "Please, I have done nothing wrong. You cannot do this. I'm not like her or Sheila, can't you see that?" But the audience did not flinch. No one grabbed for her, and no reassuring voice came through to defend her. RJ's lips parted, his chest rising and falling rapidly as if he wanted to speak, but the words died before they could escape his lips. His uncertainty was louder than any allegation Sheila or Lee could level. Lee's stare intensified, and she folded her arms across her chest with finality. "You can cry and beg, but it won't change the fact. You've been lying from the time you came into this house. Luna, the mask is now off, and we will not allow you to tear this family down." Sheila stepped forward, her smile triumphant, her voice crisp with delight. I told them everything, Luna. I informed them that you couldn't be trusted. They did not listen at first, but look at them today. Everyone sees it. You're exactly like me. And no matter how hard you try, you can't escape who you are. Luna's legs crumpled beneath her, and she sank to her knees, her palms smacking against the marble floor as sobs ripped through her chest. The scene was heartbreaking. Her once bright and hopeful soul had shattered and crumbled before their eyes. She turned her head up, urgently looking for a savior among the faces staring down at her, but all she felt was pity, suspicion, or satisfaction. Please, RJ, she said softly, her voice wavering like the final thread of hope unwinding. Please assure them that I am not dangerous. You recognize me. You know I am not like this. RJ fought to swallow the lump that had developed in his throat. His heart raced against his ribs like a trapped bird, longing to fly free, but the fear of betraying his family kept him silent. He looked aside, unwilling to meet her pleading eyes, and Luna knew right then. The final piece of her delicate world crumbled, leaving only devastation in its wake. The doors opened wider as two officers went inside, their uniforms standing out against the glitter of the festivities. Their appearance caused the visitors to recoil, as the truth of the situation settled like a rain cloud over the room. Baker gestured to Luna, his voice hard and forceful. Stand up, Mississippi. No, you're coming with us. Luna shrieked, scurrying backward on her hands and shivering furiously. I did not do anything. Please do not take me. You are making a mistake. Her screams resonated throughout the mansion, bouncing off the walls like phantom wails. The officers approached her, their expressions devoid of pity, and reached for her arms. She thrashed against them, her sobbing turning into frightened screams, her fingernails scraping across the slick floor as if attempting to dig her way out of reality itself. Please, someone assist me. Do not let them take me away. I'm not who they claim I am. The guests shifted uncomfortably, some turning away, unable to witness her humiliation. Others drew in closer, unable to take their eyes off the spectacle of a young woman unraveling. Sheila's expression of cruel enjoyment was clear. For her this was vindication. For Lee it was justice. Luna saw it as blatant betrayal. As the officers dragged her to her feet, Luna's hair fell loose about her tear-streaked face, and her voice broke as she shouted again. RJ, please, do not let them do this to me. Say something. Please. RJ's chest heaved, his fists tightened at his sides, but he did not say anything. His silence was like a dagger stabbed straight into her heart, twisting with each passing second. The treachery hurt more than the officer's steel grip or Sheila's accusations. It was the end of the one tiny hope she had held on to. Her body sagged in their grip as she realized no one would save her. Nobody believed her. Nobody cared. Baker offered a final nod, his tone firm. Take her. As they dragged her to the door, Luna's shouts became guttural sobs that rang long after they ceased. Her cry for aid echoed throughout the great hall, haunting every ear. Yet no hand reached out to prevent the inevitable. She was alone. Completely alone. The huge front doors crashed shut behind her as the officers carried her out into the night, her voice becoming fainter until only quiet remained. Inside, the air felt colder and thicker. The celebration was over. What had begun as a night of celebration had ended in devastation, with the recollection of Luna's screams lingering like smoke from a fire. Some visitors spoke quietly about the tragedy, while others went swiftly, eager to escape the tension that lingered over the estate like a curse. RJ stayed motionless in the midst of it all, his gaze locked on the door where Luna had vanished. His heart ached from remorse, and his memory replayed the look in her eyes when she begged him to save her. He'd failed her. He knew it. Nonetheless, he remained immobilized, the weight of his family's expectations binding him to quiet. Sheila approached him with a vicious smile that was almost maternal. She placed her hand on his shoulder, her words quiet yet sharp. You did the correct thing, RJ. She would have devastated you, just as I had devastated so many before you. RJ shrugged her hand off, his eyes filled with rage and shame. Don't you dare compare her to you. But even as he spoke, he was overwhelmed with guilt. He had not safeguarded Luna. He had not battled for her. He had let her be hauled away, and he knew deep down that the damage had already been done. Lee, standing nearby, gave him a strong gaze, her voice full of assurance. You should understand, RJ, that we did what was best for everyone. Luna represented a menace. She had to leave, but RJ's silence said otherwise. He turned away, his fists still clenched and his jaw tightened. He couldn't face them or anyone. He could only see Luna's face, her eyes wide with betrayal, her voice quivering as she yelled his name. Meanwhile, outside, under the flashing red and blue lights, Luna sat in the back of the police car, sobbing uncontrollably. The chains around her wrists pinched into her skin, a brutal reminder of the truth she couldn't avoid. She rested her forehead against the cool glass, peering out at the mansion that had promised her love, family, and acceptance, only to take it all away in the end. Her mind replayed the night in fragments. Lee's accusations, Sheila's sneer, the crowd's whispers, and RJ's quiet. She couldn't stop herself from repeating this terrible circle over and over again. She was devastated, not just because they had seized her independence, but also because they had taken her hope. Don't lie to us, you're still insane. Lee's voice resonated in her ears, a curse louder than the sirens outside. No matter how hard she tried to prove herself, or how much love she gave, it was insufficient. To them, she would always be who Sheila claimed she was. As the car drove away, Luna closed her eyes, her tears soaking the scratchy fabric of the seat. Her spirit, once brilliant and full of dreams, was now shrouded in sadness. In that moment, she discovered the cruelest truth of all. It doesn't always matter who you are or how hard you try to change. Sometimes the lies told about you are louder than the truth you carry within. When no one speaks out for you, those lies become the only tale people will believe. The mansion became quieter as the night progressed, but the ghost of Luna's cries remained, haunting everyone who had witnessed her demise. For some, it represented justice. For others, it was a tragedy. However, for Luna, it was the end of everything she had battled for. And in the hush that followed, no one could dispute it. The sight of Luna being taken away, broken and betrayed, would haunt them all long after the lights went down.